This video is going to show Warren County residents how to check on the status of their home address or business address in terms of the current broadband build out that's happening by a few different providers in the county, funded by both federal and state grant funds. The first thing I want to show you is how to access the North Carolina Broadband Status Map from the Warren County webpage. So if you're online, go to warrencountync.com. Once you're on the warrencountync.com homepage, if you see this top toolbar and go under the community drop-down menu, you will see our broadband initiative page. This is where the county has been doing our best to keep as many updates and links here as possible. Click on that broadband initiative page. You'll see several different things. You'll see some links to the left of the page that will get you to a few different websites that might be of use to you. You'll see links to news coverage on broadband initiatives dating all the way back to the county's work starting in 2013. But for the point of this video, we have linked the North Carolina Broadband Status Map to the top of this page. So this map was created by North Carolina's Department of Information Technology, and it's meant to allow North Carolina citizens to search for their home or business address to see if it is part of an active broadband grant program. So once you get to this part of the Warren County page, click on the link to that map, and it will open up the North Carolina Broadband Status Map with DIT. Click OK for that pop-up. You will see the map is zoomed out to view the whole state of North Carolina. You can search a couple different ways. You can type in a specific address into the toolbar, or you can zoom in by pressing the plus icon. In order to move the map, left click and drag your mouse so that you're dragging the screen down so that you can see Warren County. What you're going to see when you look at this map are hexagons, these shapes here, and they're going to be different colors. You can get a sense of what's going on in the county by looking at these colors. The state has been aggregating broadband data in hex bins, and the greener a hex bin is, the more locations that are being served by a broadband provider. So for example, if you click on this hex bin above Warrenton, you will see that there are total 506 serviceable locations by broadband. In this hex bin, there are only 6 locations that are currently unserved. So therefore, that's why you see this hex bin on the darker green side. Conversely, if you look at, let's take this hex bin here, a little off of US 1, there are 77 total serviceable locations by broadband, and currently all 77 of them are unserved. Therefore, that's why you see that this hex bin is this gray color. It's at the lower end of the spectrum. Let's look one more place. Let's look at this almost black color hex bin. There are, in this part of the county, 0 broadband serviceable locations. And so there are 0 unserved locations. So again, you can continue. In order to close out of these little boxes, you just hit the X. You can continue to zoom in all the way till you get out of the hex bins and onto a map, where you will then see the map populated with streets, highways, and little dots that are that mark each serviceable location. The white dots are locations that are already being served by a broadband provider, even prior to the federal and state funding that has come down. So let's take this dot, randomly click here, click on the dot, 124 Community Lane, Warrenton, North Carolina. Its service status is that it is being served. Click the X to click out. You will see some dots that are in red and they have aura. They are highlighted with a certain color. It's either going to be red for meaning that it's going to be served by a state build-out grant, blue meaning that it's being served by a federal build-out grant, and green is if the local government is building to that with local funding dollars only. So let's pick a dot that is highlighted in red. Click on that location. Okay, you will see in the pop-up box the address 686 US Highway 158 Bypass Warrenton. Its current status is that it is an unserved location, meaning it does not have broadband service yet by the requirements in which the state is considering this location served or unserved or underserved. So once this pop-out happens, you will get project information in this box. So this location is going to be funded by the recent grant program we've been calling CAB, that's short for Completing Access to Broadband. This is a state funding source. It is coming from the state of North Carolina. You can see the project ID for what that's worth, and the provider that won the grant for this location, the grant funding from the state through the CAB program, is Brightspeed. This location is under contract. The things that people are probably most interested in are these two things right here. So let's jump down to require completion date. This required completion date of 10/31/2026 does not necessarily mean, I'm recording this on October 1st, 2024. It does not necessarily mean that it is going to be 2 years before this location sees service. That required completion date is the completion date for the grant that it is funded, meaning the grant is requiring Brightspeed to finish this within 2 years. However, we don't anticipate that it will take 2 years for these providers to finish their build. So what you're probably most interested in is your build status. Where are we in the build process? Currently, this location has a pending build status. That means that it hasn't started yet. There isn't enough information. From what we know about where providers are as of the beginning of October 2024, they haven't gotten to this area yet. So if you want to stay in touch with what your build status is for your location, you can look on this map and click the dot for your location. Let's take a federally funded grant just so you can see the difference. 711 US Highway 158. This is being funded by RDOF. That stands for the Rural Digital Opportunity Fund. This is a federal grant. Okay, the provider who won this award is Spectrum. For most of the federal funded locations, you're probably going to see unknown. My guess is because this is a state map, it was put together by the state of North Carolina. They just don't have as much information from the federal government to populate this area. You may not be able to see what your grant status is, your build status is, or the required completion date. However, you do know that it is going to go from an unserved location to a served location with RDOF federal funding by Spectrum. Let's look at potential locations that are not served at all at this time. Scroll around till we find some. Okay. The other type of dot you will see is a red dot with no color around it. If you look over at your legend here, red means that it is an unserved location. Some might have an orangish yellow, that means it is served, but it is underserved, meaning it doesn't really have the appropriate service deemed appropriate by the federal government, or it's served. So if you click on a red dot, you will also get a pop-up for the address, and you will see that it is unserved. There is no pending project, no grant funding yet that is serving that location. Now, if you live or operate a business at an unserved location, it does not mean that you won't get picked up by a provider in upcoming grant funding. As of October 1st, 2024, we are about to enter into completing access to broadband round 2. This is round 2 of the CAB funding. It's possible that these unserved locations, these red dots with no colors, will get picked up by a provider in their proposal for that grant funding. And then, of course, the other way that you can search if you don't want to peruse the map is to go in and type in your address directly. I'm going to type in 602 West Ridgeway Street in Warrenton, which is the county administration office. It's going to take us to county admin. And you can see the white dot is blending into the color of the roof, but you can see that we are a served location here in the town of Warrenton. So that's another way where most of you are probably going to want to search your home or business address is just go ahead and type it into the search bar. Okay, so again, start out by going to warrencountync.com, and under our community tab, you're going to go to the broadband page. That broadband page will give you the link to this map.